Episode 9 of the 7-3 podcast with my co-host.
Rehan, as always, I'm with my chota bhai.
No, he's not. He's Unk and I'm non-Unk.
I think I'm gonna have to get a sweatshirt or
I'm just
something
bite.
made
I'm just
saying
bite.
Unk.
Yeah, you do need an Unk.
Yeah. And you're just gonna say violation.
Violation. It's gonna be me like doing like this.
Yeah, violation. It's like the DMX.
Yeah.
That's gonna be in the back of it.
So actually, we had like a lot of topics set up and stuff like that to talk about. Ooh, wah, wah. We are continuing off of the last podcast about weddings and stuff. But in the time between, we ate and stuff like that, and then we just started chopping it up about, some of the things from our own personal life, and
And we really went in deep.
yeah. Pause. Why'd you? I came out of nowhere. But we were again like we both have been through a lot in our personal lives and stuff, and then when you have a brother to talk to and stuff like that, it becomes easier to recollect on the things that have happened in the past and all that kind of stuff. So we might stay a little bit on that topic and just touch upon those topics and how growing up in families, it's not just Desi families, but it's all families. I've seen it with my friends, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Growing up in single parent households or even dual parent households where people's relationships with their parents and cousins and siblings and families is all very up and down. And everyone's story is going to be different.
And you realize the more you talk to people, you start to see how much similarities you actually have. The problem is a lot of times we don't, especially in the Desi culture, we don't talk to each other at all. So we feel like the problems that we have are just singular to us. Mm-hmm. And so we feel like, oh my God, I can't connect with anybody else because they're definitely not going through it, especially when you see them on such a surface level, usually in a function or something. Mm-hmm. Nobody's going to talk about like the deep stuff that they're going through and stuff like that, right? So even we weren't doing that a couple months ago. If it wasn't for this podcast, like I think we've been closer in the last 2 weeks than we've been ever, right? Mm-hmm. And it's all because we actually took the time to sit down and have these conversations, have one-on-one, and actually ask those uncomfortable questions. Questions that we, might be taboo. I would say taboo is a good word.
I'd say taboo.
Right? At least in the Desi culture.
Just in general, it's unspoken about.
Exactly, unspoken about. Even though everybody's going through it, because the more you talk, you realize
it's not just me.
It's not just me. Whether it be like my friend or my uncle or a family member, you realize they're going through the same things, but we just can't relate because we're so much focused on ourselves. Yeah. And the culture especially says if you're going through hardships and stuff, especially for guys, I feel like I'm sure it's the same for girls, but I can only talk from my point of view. It's better to keep that to yourself because that's what guys are supposed to do. Like be tough and just kind of handle the situation because as a guy, your job is to take care of the family. So if that means sacrificing certain things or keeping certain things not really going off emotions.
I'll say to add to that is forget just like the male and female.
Yeah.
Our culture kind of tells us to not talk about things that happen at home or within the family because you don't want to bring shame.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. It's always this
thing. That's a good way to put it.
It's always this thing about if you bring it up, then people are going to think ill of us.
Yeah.
Right? And then you put on a facade and it's fake and then, everyone's acting this way and it's just
and we were talking
why do we have to hold these things back when we know it's there?
Yeah.
And people will look at each other eye to eye and know there's something between them, but won't bring it up, whether that be friends or family or people in your life. And look, this is not us trying to delve into some new topic that we discovered. It's not like that.
Yeah, everybody can relate to the situation you're talking about.
All we're trying to do is just extract that emotion and extract that reality for people and let it come to life and come into conversation. Yeah. Because, this shit takes a toll.
Yeah, and that's what listening to podcasts did for me.
Yeah.
Even a lot of the feelings that I had, I never processed them. So I didn't know how to actually word them and stuff till I started hearing other people talking about traumas that they've been through, hardships in relationships and family that they've been through. I'm like, oh my God, I can put words to my feelings.
Yeah.
I never took the time to process that. Yeah. So to seeing that, especially coming from a different point of view, it was so refreshing.
Yeah.
Right. So the same goes for you, right? Like I talked about, we've been talking about topics that we would never bring up before. But now that we're bringing it up, we realize oh my God, how much similar we are. And we've been he's been giving me advice that's been so helpful. And I hope it's the same for you, vice versa.
No, it is. And the other thing is, if you have a cousin, if you have a sibling that you can trust enough, but you just don't have the conversations with, just try having the conversations with them. It doesn't hurt to try to be self-aware enough to know that things are bothering you and that it's worth trying to talk to somebody that you can trust, obviously.
And to build on that, right? I think I kind of mentioned in one of the previous podcasts, I know it's hard to build trust because a lot of times, unfortunately, situations happen that, people that you're close to, things got out. So it's easier to be coming from a point of view of being more cautious. But I feel like, yes, it might hurt you and stuff, but I go into, like I talked about, relationships, friendships, family members with an open heart, 100%. Yes, it might backfire, but I think I'm willing to learn that lesson because on the opposite end, if it does work out, we can build such a beautiful relationship.
If it does work out, then we both not only get to be more brotherly,
exactly,
but we also get to help us go through those things and then build on top of it. Like, yo, like that shit we went through, I can kind of see past it even better now. Because somebody else was relating to me at the same time without me knowing.
And hopefully what that would always also do is make you more comfortable to open up your issues to me now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And I think there's nothing better than that because, going back to like the olden days, people grew up in tribes for that reason. Because, like when you're surrounded by so many family members, if it's just you and your parents always, sometimes it's hard to open up to them. But if you grew up with like cousins or extended family members and you guys are always together, you almost find somebody to relate to then, right? You open up your pool basically to more people.
And, I think the biggest thing is like for me when I was growing up was like all my friends, most of them came from single family households, right? And it was like, you look at your parents and you're like, oh, I have both my parents, what a blessing. But then I think when you grow up in Desi culture stuff, you kind of realize that I'm not speaking specifically about my parents, so I don't want this to be
But just in general.
Yeah, just in general.
Yeah. From what we've experienced.
It's just experiences. It's not me trying to take shots at my own parents, anything like that. So, you see your friends, they're single parents, like, damn, it's such a blessing I have both my parents, blah, blah, whatever. But then you also realize, like, just because you have both parents doesn't mean it's a better situation.
Yeah.
Sometimes these people divorce and stuff like that, and it's better because of the situations they went through as well. Yeah. And you realize it's way more common than you think. I mean, look, where we grew up, the town we grew up in, damn near all my friends.
Yeah, same.
All of my friends.
Yeah,
and then,
of course.
When you're younger, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But when you're older and you see relationships and you see how people are when they're married, and you're like, I get it. And it sucks for the kids.
Of course.
Because now I'm witnessing how we were when we were growing up with all my friends and this and that. And like, there was a time where my parents had like moving situations because of jobs. And I lived without my dad. He would come every weekend, but he was away for like 2-3 years. And it was just me, my mom, my sisters, and then my grandma sometimes. So she came from Pakistan. Yeah. So for me, it was like, having that single parent household a little bit to an extent, and then seeing like all my friends are kind of like that way.
Yeah.
And then
to go off of that, same with me. Like, when I used to live in Pakistan, my dad was based in the factory over here. But unfortunately, when we decided to move here, he had to take over the factory in Pakistan. Yeah. So we never got to see him. Like I always like try to count up the days. Mm-hmm. Like if I had to count up the days I'm actually spend time with my dad, it's probably less than a year. Yeah. And I'm 30 years old. Yeah. Like, so it's crazy to think like, so I can kind of relate to them. Like even though both parents were there, it still felt like a single family home.
Yeah. And when you're young, it doesn't make sense to you. Yeah. Right. And you're just like, you can stop me if I say something wrong, but it's just like, you don't understand why.
Of course, yeah.
And now if you're a guy and you're going through that, you don't have a father figure in your life, and you're trying to figure out why my father is not there in my life, it's just like, it doesn't make sense. But then you have to bottle that feeling up because all you have is your mother, and then you may have your friends and your cousins, but none of them would understand what you're going through at that age.
Exactly.
And when you're that young, you don't even know how to process and talk about it, as you mentioned. Yeah. And then you look at it from the girl's perspective, and it's like, the girls don't have a father figure. Yeah. And the girls don't see a loving relationship with their parents. Yeah. And then the girls end up living, they have their own trauma and their own problems.
Of course, yeah.
And they don't know how to process their emotions because they never had a father figure in their life. And this is not even, in brown culture, it's taboo. And it's a taboo thing to talk about, but it shouldn't be because it's a reality. Yeah. Right? And like I was mentioning before, you'll have 2-parent households with a horrible parent dynamic. Yeah. I mean, we all know of aunts and uncles, and look, I'm not talking about specifically my aunts, uncles. I'm not talking about that. I don't want anyone to feel offended by us or anything like that, but it's just in general. Yeah. we know people who are in relationships, and we have
Even like they see friends and stuff.
they see
You've
friends
seen
and
it,
stuff. Yeah, like you see, like they'll even tell you, like, oh, you know
Yeah.
what, my parents don't have the best relationship,
Yeah.
or they're just keeping it together because they're worried about
For the
how
sake of the family.
For the sake of the family, like,
Yeah.
what is that for the sake of family?
Yeah.
Because then you're growing up putting your kids through
Yeah.
a household that's not healthy,
And
and then
I-
they grow up in an unhealthy household.
Yeah.
And then guess what? Once you get to a certain age, you have to process what you went through,
Yeah, of course.
and realize, like, oh shit, what I went through wasn't normal.
Yeah.
And then you're stuck with those bottled up traumas and emotions, and you have to figure out what you're supposed to do with your life now, knowing that what you went through wasn't normal. And then let's say you get into a relationship or you get into a marriage, and you're like, all the things that my parents were doing that wasn't right, I'm starting to feel within myself.
Of course.
And you have to catch yourself, like, you know, if your father left your life, like, damn, am I acting like what I don't want to be? And if you had, you know, a mother who was very bad, a girl may be saying, oh shit, the things my mother would do to my father that I thought was horrible, I may be doing now too.
Yeah, of course.
And it becomes, this is the weirdest thing about life. And it's like, no matter what circumstance you're in, I'll say one good thing is that you'll probably have somebody around you who has gone through the same thing, if not worse.
But
because
the
it
thing
can always
with-
be worse.
Yeah, but the thing with that is that's the point we're trying to make. Find those people that you can talk to, because then you'll realize, like,
You're not alone.
You're not alone. There's so many people in a similar situation, and the way to better those situations, not just for themselves but for the next generation, is to actually have those conversations openly. And I know it's hard. Like, going back to the point, like, I know it's hard to build trust with people, but the more trustworthy people that you have around you, the better overall life you're gonna have. Because the thing is, the life is limited. We got one chance at this.
One life, bro.
One life, like, literally. Put a little Bob Marley sign in there. Yeah, one life to do this right. So why not have the most fun? You know what I mean? If you could avoid a couple of lessons by taking from others, why not do that?
Yeah,
Right.
and on top of that, it's like, instead of you using vices to get over your stuff, and look, I know,
You all have those,
we
yeah.
see it all now, right? Like,
Yeah.
we're either your first or second generation brown. You're like, yo, my cousin doing these things and that things, and everyone's always very judgmental.
Why'd you point at me?
No, I'm pointing over there. Over there. No one's over there.
I don't know. I
You're
saw
pointing over there.
I
No,
saw a
no.
little pinky point this way.
But
Yeah.
nah, like, you know, everyone is like, oh, वो बेटा तो वो करता है, वो बाहर जाता है, वो घर आता ही नहीं, blah blah, whatever it is,
This
right?
is the first time Ali speaking Urdu.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, you see that people judge those cousins and stuff growing up without even knowing what they went through,
Yeah, of
right? And
course.
it's like, yo, they could be doing nothing. They could just be hanging out with friends. But then there's always this thing like, oh, ye to mera beta hai, he had all these good grades, he went and did this. And it's like, yo, do you know what your beta does?
Yeah. And also,
And then the one kid who's going out and hanging out with friends all the time is like, what if he's actually the good kid?
Exactly,
And it's
yeah.
like we're raised in such a judgmental society sometimes. And look, I know people may say, like, you know, this society allows us to be number one in these statistics and that statistics, but they don't talk about the bad side of the society, where it's like we're raising people to be less self-aware because we put them under such hard constraints. And that's what we want to talk about, where it's like, yo, people big up Desi culture for us being so career-oriented and being number one now, almost number one now for, you know, jobs and careers and income in America.
Income in America.
And there's so many
Desi.
positives to our culture. I'm not saying there isn't.
Yeah.
What I'm saying
But-
is there is a bad side.
because in order to be successful at this, they're sacrificing other aspects of life that people don't see.
Yeah.
Right?
And like we mentioned on previous podcasts before, and, you know, I don't want to reiterate points, but I'm just bringing it up where it's like, FPM. You know, you can have the financial, you can have, you know, your parents being proud, but at the same time, you can have
You might be missing a piece.
emptiness.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what we kind of were talking about before, where it's like, yo, things happen in family, you feel isolated, you just have your friends who, you know, maybe outside the culture, even in the culture, and you feel alone inside because everyone in your life, you know, we all grew up very family oriented, all these cousins and stuff.
Yeah.
And when you get to like 15, 16, that's snatched out of you, it becomes a thing of like, okay, like this chunk of my life was all this and now it's gone. Or you grew up with two parents and then you turn 15, 16 and now, or even younger, and now they're divorced.
Yeah.
And, you know, they may be going through a petty legal battle, or they may be, you know, fighting every night, or, you know, you may have grown up witnessing abuse. Like, there's so much to unpack about what people really go through.
Yeah.
And the whole point is, like, no matter what you're going through, there's going to be people in your same boat. And I only say that, as we're saying, to say that there's going to be people you can talk to and find. Like, you know, you find your tribe. You attract the people. That's something he mentioned before. You find your tribe. And you attract people in your life who sometimes go through similar things. Now, yes, still filter
Yeah.
for who's good and who's bad,
Yeah.
and who's gonna be honest, who's gonna be truthful. Because sometimes people who go through the same things may not be at the same maturity level as you. Maybe you're at the point where you're like, I want to get over this and through this, and I'm working on myself, but they're still at the point of like dealing with their pain through vices
Yeah.
and not opening up about it.
Yeah.
So just because someone goes through the same thing as you all have to be cautious about who you're letting into your circle,
Yeah.
because maybe that person could drag you down.
Yeah.
So you got to be really cautious about that.
Yeah, and like to the point, like before we started actually recording, the last point that I had brought up, the fact that the way I go into these situations now, because like, I've gone through so much like hardship and stuff, like, what I mean? I know everybody has, but obviously everybody's experience is their own, right?
Yeah.
So the stuff that I was going through.
And it's still hardships.
Exactly, yeah.
It still happened. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying?
Yeah, exactly. And then, like, so I had points in my life where I had personal hardships going on at home, but at work and stuff, I had people that I would call close friends and everything that took a chance to like go against me. And it was such a shock because these are people like I considered very close to me. And then to see like such a thing happen, it kind of like fully shocked me. But I knew that with everything going on at home, to add another negativity into my life is something that I just couldn't take on. So as tough of a decision it was, I had to realize like, okay, I can either let this bring me down even more, or I can try to do something about it. And I chose the opposite route. Like the way I went on it, like the shit happened, I went back to forgiving those people because I realized that the reason they're acting this way is because they're going through their own traumas, their own hardship, and that's their way of like letting it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not my place to change those people because I don't have any control over that. What I do have control over is my own mind. So I'm gonna use that in a positive mindset and keep myself like that because for me, it's more important about how I feel now than it is like what everybody else thinks, which in Desi culture is such an opposite, right?
Yeah. So the blessing from what I've heard from you is like, the blessing is that you were able to examine that, hey, like the person across from me who just did this to me is recycling their own trauma and acting on that.
Yeah.
So you can't even blame them for what they did.
Yeah, exactly.
Which makes forgiveness easier once you realize like all of us are just acting out of the things that we went through.
Yeah.
And that's people's subconscious reiterating the things and traumas they went through.
Yeah.
But you were strong enough to go, look, I already got enough shit going on.
Yeah.
Instead of adding on to the pain I already have, I'm just gonna forgive what they did and just know that I already have enough going on.
Yeah.
And I think
doing that
to finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, you
to
go.
finish, it's like
Don't do it then, but
to finish, it's like I think more people should take that into account. And look, it's not groundbreaking news. I'm not fucking.
of course.
I'm not trying to. I don't want anyone saying like, oh, they think they're so deep. No, the point is that there's people here who haven't heard these things, and I want to say it, and especially if they're younger, And the thing is you have to get to a point where you realize that everyone around you is replaying their life on their own traumas, or they're trying to work on their traumas. And no one's perfect. No one's perfect. Everyone has a story. Everyone is going through their own chapters. You may meet somebody in a certain chapter, or if you have friends for a long time, you've lived through multiple chapters of theirs.
Yeah.
And we have friends who have gone through so much hard shit, but then we see them on the other side.
Yeah.
Right? And you have to constantly change the way you're viewing people based on what they went through.
Yeah.
Applaud your friends who go through hardships and can make it out. Put together a way to, have all your friends be honest about those things and be like, yo, I know what you're going through. And I'm not going to look down on you or see you differently for it.
Of course.
Because I went through shit too, and I can feel what you're feeling. Don't have a friend who's going through shit and be like, try to one-up them because they're going through something.
A real friend is somebody that's in the hardships is going to say those uncomfortable things, even though a lot of people don't take that risk because you feel like it's going to mess up the relationship. No, take that risk and talk to them because if they're real and the friendship is real, it's actually going to bring you guys closer together. Everybody can be there on your happy days. You know what I mean? That's freaking easy.
It's easy. It's so easy.
The real friends are the ones that are in your darkest times. They're there next to you. That's how you know those are real friends.
Right? Yeah. And
preach,
Unc.
preach.
Unc. No, but
Preachy mood to them.
But the other thing is don't look down upon people who are going through things.
Yeah,
and,
you can't.
You also have to realize like just because you're in your sunny days, doesn't mean you see somebody on their rainy days and think you're above them. And
don't forget your dark days.
This may not apply to you, but for some people it does. Where it's like you may know people who are like when they're going through shit, you're there for them. But then when they're going through when you're going through shit, they're just flexing their fucking happy days, And that's a reality. You gotta stay away from people like that.
Yeah. And also not to bring, I mean, yeah, social media does play a part because a lot of times you just see the good times online.
Yeah.
So everybody thinks, oh my God,
Everyone's perfect.
everyone's perfect and only I'm going
I'm
through
broken.
these hardships.
Yeah, you're not the only person
everybody's
broken.
in the same boat, guys. And the biggest point I hope you guys take away from this conversation is that everybody has trauma, but in order to move forward from it and heal from it, what you have to do is talk. Talk to people. It doesn't, we're not just preaching like psychiatrists and stuff. We're saying start closer to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not something that has to go out of your way and pay for it. It's free as long as you find the right people. But it takes by taking a chance and taking a leap of faith. You might be wrong sometimes, but sometimes once you do make that jump over the canyon, you're gonna see how freeing you feel.
And to go off what my great brother Aristotle has said right here.
I've been watching too many philosophy things
too many
to go
quotes.
to sleep.
My brother, the Stoic.
I've been watching this to go to sleep, so I think I keep repeating them in my head.
That's good. It's like listening to affirmations while you sleep.
Yeah.
But I'll say another thing is like, I've mentioned this before, and it's just because they're older than you doesn't mean they're more healed than you.
Yeah.
You know, there's, as I'm growing up, I'm only 24, but, I've mentioned before, like I've been very aware since around 16 because I've been through like things throughout that time.
Yeah.
And what I realized is just because someone's older than you doesn't mean that they're mentally mature than you or that they're over their own traumas. Yeah. Just because it's your parent, just because it's your uncle, just because it's your aunt. We grow up in such a respect your elders culture that we forget that we should have our own boundaries.
Yeah.
And for girls, girls are told, if an auntie makes a comment about their weight or their acne or, something about their hair, that they should just brush it off or whatever. Like, yeah, I think you should brush it off, but you should also be able to recognize and go like, that auntie or uncle is only saying that because they probably are insecure about themselves.
Yeah.
And
especially Desi girls under way more scrutiny.
Way more scrutiny
than other our friends that are not Desi.
Yeah, and me and him both have two sisters, and I have witnessed it myself.
Yeah, of course.
And we have more girl cousins than guy cousins.
I can say like directly, I get away with a lot more
than girls
something
do.
The girls would do, and it's not even like bad things.
Yeah,
it's like something as little as just like being able to step out on your own.
Yeah, straight up. And it's like you have to realize that these aunts and uncles or whoever may be in your life or even friends or whatever it may be, make sure you set boundaries. And sometimes, if you're going through those parental problems, you're not taught those things. And you tend to be a little bit behind compared to other people because your parents are so caught up in what they're going through that they forget to even give guidance and pass it down.
Yeah.
The whole point of being a parent is you guys have your life experiences and you teach your kids from a young age growing up how to be stronger and go through those things. But if you don't have those things, reach out to older people you trust or mentors or even an older person from your work. Sometimes people who are outside your family tend to be better teachers than those in your family.
Yeah. To go on your point that you said set your boundaries with your family member, by that we're not saying completely block them out because they might have some good advice on certain topics, but in other situations, you might want to set a boundary with them.
I know for girls it is harder, and for you guys are put under a microscope, and from a young age it's like, oh, like, iski shaadi karte hain. Like they're 17, 18, and it's like already thinking about getting them married and shit, and it's like, well, I don't even know who I am as a person, and on top of that I was bullied while I was younger, and I do know for like the brown girls, stuff like that, in school and stuff, you guys go through more than sometimes the guys do, and you guys, it's just harder, it's just harder, and that's why we had a whole nother topic for this podcast. We had all this shit written down, but then we ended up starting talking about like, things about our culture that seem to be not spoken about and things that we realized that we were hurt by and things that we had to learn on our own or now together with each other and realize that like, there's thousands of more people who are in the same boat, if not worse, right? Like I may look at my problems and think they're the biggest thing in the world. He may look at his problems and think they're the biggest thing in the world, but there's someone out there with 10x the problems you have. Less money, no parents, on their own, taking care of their siblings if they have any, and just living a much harder life.
Isn't it a saying like the worst thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing that happened to you? So it's hard to relate with other people.
Not only that, the worst thing that happened to you may be nothing to another person.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. That's why the saying goes that way. It's kind of like unfortunately people can't relate to other
Yeah.
people because we're so caught up in our own feelings
Yeah.
and stuff that we forget to realize like, oh, we forget to appreciate the good things in life.
Exactly.
Because we're so focused on the negatives.
And don't let people who see that you have more think that you don't go through problems.
Yeah.
Sometimes, me personally, I was blessed enough to have both my parents in my life,
Yeah.
have a very comfortable life, financially comfortable life after a certain age as well. How I grew up is different than other people, where some people may say like, what you went through, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Like, why should you feel so harshly about that? You have all this stuff,
Yeah.
And I thankfully grew up with two parents and thankfully grew up with parents who worked hard and were able to have careers and stuff like that. But it doesn't mean that I didn't go through things that are valid to feel.
Yeah.
Because what I went through was what I went through. My dark days are my dark days.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't have people, last thought.
Yeah, go ahead.
You shouldn't have people in your life try to downplay what you went through. Yeah, to an extent, you may be exaggerating and whatever, but what you're feeling is real, right? And, I could tell you, like, yo, sometimes with guys, it's like, man, you ain't go through shit. Bottle it up and keep moving, right? Or it's like, man, you being a bitch. And it's like, no, how can you say that when I'm feeling hard about this and you're not understanding what I'm saying? It's like, bro, you got this and that. Why you tripping, right? It's like, that's nothing. But it's like, no, bro, like, you're not getting what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
that's why I really love the analogy that you used yesterday, FBM, right? FPM, right? Because that's something that a lot of people should relate to because, you might see somebody that has the financial aspect set up.
Yeah.
They might have the physical aspect set up,
Mental's cooked.
but the mental is cooked, right? So everybody has different problems. They might not have the same problems, but everybody's going through their own hardship.
Yeah.
And so be sympathetic to that. You know what I mean? If you're going through it, you're not the only one. People are going through it. It might be a different situation, but to them, that's their own hardships that they're trying to process, right?
And if I could move this on just a little bit, it would also be like Desi culture demonizes age so much.
Yeah.
And scrutinizes by age so much. Yeah. Like, oh, if you're past this age, like, you're done. You know what I'm saying? We live in a very different world now. And thank God to science and medicine, like, people live longer.
Yeah.
Things are delayed now because we have more life, compared to the previous generation.
Use that time to focus on ourselves, better ourselves.
Or if you were the type of person that was the problem,
Yeah.
because there may be somebody who realized like, yo, maybe shit, like I was bullying kids growing up and I wasn't a good person. I didn't treat my cousins or my siblings good. Now, I wasn't there for them when they needed me.
No.
Maybe you're realizing now in your late 20s or early 30s, like, yo, like I should have been there for them.
Yeah.
And maybe regret is eating you up. But rather than regret eating you up, take the actions to make up those things or create those bonds now.
Yeah.
Look, I know there's some people who went through things growing up and instead of them bottling it up, they took it out on people. Yeah. And if you took it out on people, it's like, that's not good.
And
what you did wasn't
like,
the best.
Yeah.
But you should also, if you recognize it, start working on that and take the actions to, you can't make up for things, but you can at least make amends with people. And, if you're at least trying, that's good. Like.
Yeah, of course. That's all you can do. Just try your best. You know what I mean? Keep
show
going.
You've changed.
Exactly.
It's like we're talking about a topic that's very, very heavy.
Yeah.
Right?
No, because the thing is, like, when we're talking, you have a really good point of view, but obviously I'm so interested in what you're saying.
That you're,
So, like, I know I have something, but in the future, like, I guess if we, like, maybe, like, no, because writing things down doesn't help.
That's not natural.
Because it's natural,
it's a podcast, right?
Yeah. Because, like, I wish I could, like, there was something in my mind that could
what
record it.
That could record it in my mind. Just fucking pull it back out.
Yeah, because I'm like, oh my God, I had such a good point to that. But what you're saying is so interesting to me too. I'm like, my brain's trying to do two things at once. Yeah. And so I'm like losing constantly my train of thought. Yeah. But I don't mind it because I'm like, oh, now you gave me a new point of view to go off of.
Well, like, you have a top? You ready?
No, go ahead.
I don't know how deep I can get, but like, I know some girls that, and this is very sad. Like, it is genuinely very sad. And it's like they grew up and they may have been, assaulted by older cousins or uncles in their family. Yeah. And, I think that they're then demonized for even speaking out about that, or they're not even listened to. Yeah. Or, we'll have, like in...
But I think that's something that's all across. Not just Desi culture.
Not just Desi culture.
Yeah, that's something that you can see in every single thing. That's just unfortunately a horrible human, I don't know how to say it.
It's just a tragedy.
Tragedy. Yeah, that unfortunately there's always human beings like that. It's
Yeah,
unfortunate,
and-
but it's like a sad truth.
Like, you know, you always hear the thing about, I don't know if you ever watched V for Vendetta, but it's a movie that, you know, at one point does speak about church choir boys and, you know, girls that are in the church that are then, you know, sadly assaulted by priests and stuff like that. Or, you know, even back home, you'll have very strange age gap marriages with younger girls and older men because of families' monetary problems. And I only say this to bring up that you don't know what the person next to you has been through, and you don't know what's going on across the world. But you should also take into account the fact that things are very hard for some people, and that can be your little bit of way of saying, like, I'm so broken, but I can fix myself, and maybe try to help somebody out there that's going through that.
Exactly.
You know, and I think that's why we started this podcast, where it's like, shit, like we went through a lot. And if I can help somebody who's going through worse, then it is selfish to say I feel better by myself, but it's also great to say, like, I help somebody get through their problems. Which is why we have said, if you're going through things, you can hit us up, and we will keep it private, or you can tell us anonymously, or you can tell us a story about you being in a bad marriage or in a bad household growing up, and we'll talk to you, you know, and that's why I call him Unc, because, like, you know, we want to be able to give advice and stuff like that, you know, like.
And from different point of views,
different
right?
point of views,
And like you said, it goes back to our ethos of our podcast, right? About the fact that the reason behind the podcast was not because we're trying to promote something and stuff like that. We felt like it was healing for us just doing this. Like, we're both going through hardships and we're having these really good, deep conversations. So we're like, why not record this? Like, we talked about how much we're in, like, voice memos and stuff. So this was another way, honestly, for us to start just healing ourselves. And then it turned into something more beautiful, I think. It was like, oh, if I'm going through it, I'm sure there's at least one more person out there.
That's
and if we
going
can,
through the same thing.
and if we could reach them in a certain point, you know, why not? Like, you know, like, that brings like a feeling to my heart.
And you know what it is? Especially if it's a younger person. It's like, I was able to help them when I didn't have help. You know, and it's like, I was able to save them before they went through the hardships I went through.
Exactly.
Or maybe before they started going into vices.
Maybe,
you know, they were on the path of having bad friends, and, you know, man, I know people who have literally joined gangs because of them not having a good father figure or not having a good home life. And for them, having that community, like, of having a gang of brothers or, you know, stuff like that, made them feel more fulfilled, because it was me and my homies who were all going through shit, doing things together. You know, even if it's bad, it didn't matter if it was bad, because you feel that loyalty to your brothers. I'm not saying that stuff is good, but I'm saying it could be a coping mechanism for people to do that. So if we can help somebody before getting into that life, because I know people who have gone through that kind of stuff.
All gangs and stuff, if you think about it, it started for looking for brotherhood or sisterhood, right? Like, that's, people crave connection. And the problem is, in the society that we live in, the more and more, like, it's so much about ourselves. We're so isolated from each other, right? So you lose that connection. So obviously it's easy. Because, like, gangs is one thing. Even if you look at, like, why, like, these paddle clubs and all these run clubs are so popular right now, is because people were, like, I feel like when we're, like, our parents or their parents, they grew up in big communities. So they actually already had those connections. But somewhere along the lines, we lost them.
We lost that.
And now you see, like, oh, people do crave that connection, because you see all these things becoming more popular, right?
And I think growing up, we learned, because we were, you know, first generation in a way, it's like, our community and our family is supposed to be everything. Right? Because we had so many cousins. We have so much family. Like we spoke in my last podcast, we'll have 300 people at our wedding, but at the same time, we may have connections with 0 people at the wedding, for example. I'm not saying, like, we don't, but we do. We have connections with
but there's
people.
always people that you don't know, right? Because it is obviously
But I'm saying for
too.
some people who are maybe more outside of their family, they may be getting married, and they're looking at their whole side of the family, they're like, man, I don't even know any of y'all. Y'all are here just to be here, you know?
Of course,
And it's like,
but I think
I'm not saying you can connect to everybody, but my point is.
But the thing is, like, you know, you can't connect to everybody. But try to do as much as you can. The more connections, the better, right?
So, So what I was saying to Rahan before we started the podcast is, like, the whole point of humanity is companionship. Like, if you really look at how humanity's always been, it's like, okay, we have communities. We come from villages. We are all, you know, they say it takes a village to raise a child or a family, right? A family to raise a child. And what I was telling Rahan's like the whole point of being human is you're brought on this earth to learn lessons, and you're meant to go through mistakes to become the best version of you possible. And the actual ethos of humanity is enlightenment.
Yeah.
That could be enlightenment just in general, spiritually.
Yeah.
Whether you do that through religion or not, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. But enlightenment is the goal. But it's in order to be at the frequency of enlightenment, you have to be able to go through the things,
Yeah.
learn from them, and become better. Otherwise, you're never going to get to that, and you're always going to be, like I mentioned to him before the podcast, was like in your primal state and your negative emotions.
Yeah.
Where, you may have grown up in a household where you witnessed your father work very hard and you applaud him for that,
Yeah.
but at the same time, be very abusive.
Yeah.
Or be filled with rage and testosterone and beat you. Or you may grow up with a mother who spites her husband and treats her husband horribly and treats the kids horribly and has favorites and outcasts one of the kids.
Yeah.
So, these things all come from, as we mentioned, it all relates back to trauma.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you got to be able to, it's hard, but like,
It's hard, yeah.
It's hard,
But
it's not easy.
It goes back to our point, right? Like, it's hard, but the more you talk about it, the more you realize, like, you start to find, like...
The more you go within.
The more you go within, but sometimes in order to go within, I feel like you talk to other people, then you can learn from them, right?
Yeah.
Because if you just keep within, you don't have any other opinions unless you're taking opinions from others, right?
Yeah.
I think that's where social media does do a good job because, like you said, unfortunately, we can't talk to our parents about certain issues, but luckily we have these podcasters or these YouTubers that are putting this content out that we can relate to, right? So I think that's why it's very important to, again, I know it sounds like a broken record at this point.
It sounds like reiteration.
Yeah, but it's like so important because it sounds so simple, but it's
not easy.
But you see it in your daily life, like nobody's actually implementing it, right? And I feel like a lot of people in their heart know these things. We're not saying, like Ali said, out of something like that we just thought of for the first time. A lot of these thoughts you've had on the inside
but
by
we're
yourself.
trying to bring power to those thoughts.
Because they've had these like thoughts to themselves.
Yeah.
But in order to actually process them and move forward,
someone needs to bring it out.
Somebody has to bring it out.
Sometimes, yeah.
There's a great book called The Body Leaves Marks. I don't know the author.
Never heard of it.
And I think I have the name right, but I'll insert like a picture of it. So it's about people, like it's a scientist that study people that went through like major trauma, like losing a spouse, losing a kid, and like doing brain scans and like psychotherapy on them to get their feedback. And what I learned from that is like, the trauma might have been different situations, but the way the body processes was all the same. So I really related to that. Like, I can't relate to the person that went through like losing a spouse, but the lessons that they learned and the feelings that they went through.
The trauma that they went through.
Yeah, and the feelings connected to that.
What happened to their body and mind.
Exactly, like what physically happened to their body, because you can see the brain scans and how the different sides are working differently.
Yeah.
Certain parts shut down when you go through major trauma. And you see that, and then you could relate to that.
Well, isn't there another thing as well, correct me if I'm wrong, where they say like you can even experience PTSD from events that are super tragic?
Yeah,
and people,
100%. Yeah, it is PTSD.
And people think that PTSD just applies to veterans
no.
war people, but no.
Any situation that left a trauma and that's reoccurring in it is PTSD. It's
because
a form of PTSD.
It's literally just how it affected your brain.
Yeah.
So you may have PTSD from something that you went through, and it could be as serious as something, as I mentioned before, about being assaulted and stuff like that, which is a very hard topic. But it could also be something else with just family, and like family problems or being beat growing up. Like you could get PTSD from anything.
And a lot of people just make that a personality trait instead, rather than realizing, oh no, that's a flaw and that's something that I need to work on.
Need to fix.
Yeah.
And but that's the thing. If you feel like you are broken, and that no matter what you do, it's not working, you have to seek help.
Yeah.
And that's why we're here to talk about those things, like going to therapy, talking to doctors. And I'm not saying go get on pills.
And the good thing nowadays is that there's so many different variations. Back in the day, it was like, if you're going through like psychological issues, the only option was going to the doctor or psychiatrist.
There's more now.
Now there's so many different avenues. Like for me, going to doctor didn't work. Like, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't able to build that connection. But I made a better connection by reading some books. By because they're showing the data behind it, right? So I can relate to these people because these are real stories. Or listening to a podcaster that has gone through that because they show their whole life life story, and I was able to connect through that.
Yeah.
Right. So there's a lot of options out there. Just find what works for you.
He's right.
Because honestly, what we want to do is like just live a happy life and make sure everybody's in that good mood. Because I think we're going through the spiritual journey ourselves, where we're not letting the negative affect us anymore.
And acknowledging, and trying to move past it.
Yeah, the next mode in our life is just living life to our fullest and having the best time of our lives, and not worrying about the negatives. Because then, don't get me wrong, there's gonna be downfalls, but I know I'll come through it better because now I got my bro right next to me. You know what I mean? Now I know like I'm not sharing the burden by myself. There's other people that are sharing the burden with me, but not because they have to. It's because we build that relationship. Yeah, right? It's because, I'm gonna start crying. It's because we build that relationship, so it makes it a little bit easier for me. Like, I'm about to take some certain risk and stuff. Like, if I was alone, I mean, I have done that. I've avoided a lot of risk because I felt like scared to do it alone.
Yeah.
But like when I talk to like my boys about it, you guys, everybody.
There's uplifting.
It's uplifting because they reassure all the things that you already know.
Because we see the best for you because we know you.
Exactly.
And then we want you to know that the risk you're going to take, you can handle.
Yeah.
And if you're going through it while those risks are happening, we're there to keep pushing you forward.
Exactly.
Because we know at the end of that is like your pot of gold, then the rainbow.
Yeah. Things don't go the right way because learn from it and whatever.
Well,
guys, Ankh is a little bit tired, you know what I mean? I apologize.
It's Ankh's curfew.
Yeah.
I will say, like, you know, if we're going to start looking into resources and bringing those resources to you guys. I mean, for example, one guy, we were talking about having avenues. There's Dr. Aman, the bald dude, the bald doctor who does brain scans for people. Like celebrities and stuff.
Oh, okay. I got to check him out. I'm not sure.
So what he does is I mean, you know, this is just an example of what there is. I mean, he's more of like a celebrity guy, but he does brain scans on like the Kardashians, the Jenners, and these celebrities. And what he does is he breaks down different parts of the brains and how the hemispheres are operating and goes over how these hemispheres may be dormant.
Yeah.
Or these nerves aren't firing.
Yeah, of course.
And, you know, sometimes it's the amygdala or the prefrontal cortex or different parts of the brain where it's like, there's things that have happened here that are causing you not to be at your optimal levels. Yeah. And sometimes you don't know what those things may be, but the easiest way you can start is like, okay, you know what? Maybe I could take some blood work. Or, you know, if you're an older man, you could take some testosterone tests, whatever it may be. But seeking out and trying to find changes. And now that you have AI, I wouldn't want you to make AI your therapist because sometimes that can lead down a darker road and you become reliant on that. But if you go to it from a just resource aspect, you will be able to find different avenues they may not be able to find. But I see somebody called Aaron Dowdy, who I mentioned before. His content, he has something called the High Vibe Tribe, and this is more of a spiritual thing. You know, you may not relate to it, but it's like he has banded together a group of people to come together and be like, yo, look, all of our collective agreement being a part of this is that we all want to ascend.
Yeah, of course.
And what I mean by ascend is like, figure out what we're going through and become better from it. Yeah. So he has done some like workshops and stuff like that where people will come out and he'll, you know, have people kind of like Tony Robbins, where he'll like talk to them, but they'll bring up their traumas, and it's very raw, it's very emotional. Like people will bring up the most darkest things about their life, but everyone in that room is also doing the same. Yeah. And
that's what makes it more comfortable to open up.
Exactly. And he'll tell you to come up, and he'll help you through it, and he'll bring out how. So there was this one woman, for example, it's like one of the pinned posts on his page as well. Gotcha. And it's a woman talking about, I keep attracting people in my life who I'm trying to help fix. Yeah. But once I fix them, they leave me. Oh. And then he goes, how was your, it made no sense when I was watching. He goes, how was your relationship with your parents growing up? Did you feel nurtured growing up? And then she's like, no, I didn't. Yeah. And he goes, you didn't feel nurtured growing up. And he's like, you're trying to nurture people, and is that what you want back? And she goes, yeah, I want to feel nurtured back. Yeah. So you're giving people what you wanted growing up, and they leave you because you've given them all you can offer them that they needed, and then they left you. When in reality, you just wanted to feel nurtured. Yeah. Yeah. Right? And it's like, I don't know if that made sense.
No, it does.
If you watch the video, it makes a lot of sense.
I know what you mean.
He helps her make her realize that what you're going through is you're attracting people in your life, and you're giving them what they want without getting what you want.
Exactly,
And you're
yeah.
giving them what they want to
Yeah.
receive that back,
Yeah.
but you don't know how to explain that.
Yeah.
So you end up attracting broken people like you.
Yeah.
She was attracting herself almost.
Yeah, a lot of times, like they say, like a lot of times people that look for relationships, they're looking for a part that's missing from them to kind of get fulfilled from the other person.
And then the problem is sometimes you'll go out of your way to help fulfill that person's traumas. And
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people that can relate in terms of relationships, especially like in the dancing culture now, where we're all, not me, but we're all dating at younger ages and stuff. I don't know, in a relationship.
He's just talking
But-
about it from a higher point of view, guys. I'm serious.
But my point is like
The eyes opening up.
the third eye is opening up right now. The pineal gland opening up.
Third eye sounds crazy.
Third eye is
sometimes.
opening up. But you'll be trying to help your partner through all these things, and you'll try to be by their side, and you'll try to, and you're not perfect, right? But at the same time, you're like, hey, like I am self-aware enough to know my problems, and I want to help you through yours, and you'll help them through their problems.
Yeah.
And you'll be like, yo, this person's getting better,
Yeah.
and then that person ups and leaves you,
Yeah.
and like that can be the most hard feeling you can ever feel. Like
Yeah.
I was there for you when no one else was, and I helped you when no one else was there. But you left me
Yeah.
when I was giving you my everything.
Yeah. See, for me, the way I process that situation, right? The one you just explained is like, if that happened to me, yeah, it might be the toughest thing I ever went through. But now I'm in that point in my life, I'm like, oh, I needed to go through that because now I know how to better myself in that certain situation. So I know if I'm in that exact situation the next time, I know how to act differently.
But that's
how to
like
move differently.
But thinking like that is not until you can heal from what you went through.
yeah, I
Right?
agree.
Because it's like after you go through it,
Yeah.
then you're like, oh, okay, like that was a lesson for me to then realize like maybe I attracted the wrong thing because I was trying to nurture somebody's problems when mine weren't.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, like the way I look at him, like, okay, like, yeah, obviously I would want to avoid that situation as much as possible. But maybe that point in my life, I needed that to be like, oh, no, like, because that person, like, let's say you had a certain trauma, right? You thought you worked on it, it healed, but it didn't. You go into a new relationship, the same shit comes back up. But the point of view that particular person is bringing might have been different with the previous person. So you kind of learn a little bit how to explain it? You kind of learn a different perspective.
But
and putting those together is how you actually heal and move forward.
But see, the problem is like, let's say,
Does that make sense what I said?
but let's say you go through the lesson,
Yeah,
you learn the lesson,
yeah,
you're like, okay, let's go get back in a relationship.
yeah,
And now you think you fixed your problems,
yeah,
but then you go into a relationship again and the same exact things happen again.
yeah.
Then it's like, why am I facing the lesson again when I thought I was being more careful this time?
So that's what I'm saying. Like, you didn't get all the parts of it. Like, there was something missing. Like, you didn't fully learn your lesson. Like, maybe that relationship ended a little too early, so you had to learn a certain aspect of the lesson.
But what if?
Because certain lesson takes longer than others, right?
But what if you're just?
Does that make sense? What I'm saying?
I
You get the
know,
point
but
of view?
then, but the hard part is like I'm trying to think like from a viewer's perspective, and even my own perspective, seeing it from other people is like, you think you did all the right things, and you did do all the right things,
Yeah.
and you felt better about your life,
Yeah.
and then you go ahead and just, at first you think that person's the right person,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You date that person,
yeah,
but then as time goes on, you realize, oh shit, like it's kind of happening again.
yeah,
But then now you're emotionally invested into this person,
yeah,
and you realize like this person is going through things that they haven't gone over.
yeah.
What do you do once you're emotionally invested?
I think it's a tough decision, but sometimes you got to make the hard decision, and like, if the walking away is the right thing to do.
But then what if you're
You do
thinking
that.
like, this is the hard part where it's like, if I can help this person go through their things, then it'll be better. Because then you think like, as a partner, that's what I should do. Like if I'm a partner, like I'm a partner, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, let's say I'm talking to a girl, I'm like, yo,
Yeah.
babe, like, I understand what you're going through. I
Mhm.
understand your pain.
yeah,
And shit, like I want to help you through that.
yeah,
And like I know what you went through was hard.
yeah,
And step by step we can get through that.
yeah,
And then it's like you do the things a partner should do.
yeah.
Because I look at my parents,
Yeah.
right? Or I look at other relationships and I'm
Yeah.
like, they helped each other through the traumas.
Yeah, of course.
And it's not like they got better and just left the person.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, of course.
But sometimes you'll be in a relationship like, I'm trying to help you through this.
Yeah,
But then once you start feeling better or you had a change of emotion or heart,
yeah,
you left.
yeah.
Then what are you supposed to do?
I think I'm a big thing now. Like if it's supposed to happen, it happens for a reason. So as unfortunate as it is, maybe that was a different lesson I had to learn. That's the way I look at it. Because again, that goes back to my perspective now, which is like, I just try to find the positive in things. I'm not saying now learn from the lessons. Take the things that you messed up on, because every situation's different. The mistakes I made in the first relationships are probably not the same mistakes I'm making in the second one, but they're still mistakes, right?
But then how are you supposed to keep going through this, like kind of like
No, you can't keep going through the cycle.
like
At
this
some point,
rotating cycle of just people who are just like, you know.
but that's the thing. At some point, I think sometimes it might take longer, but you'll eventually find that, and that's when you stop. I'm not saying it's a consistent cycle. I'm saying in certain situations, there's some lessons that you can learn on the first try. But there's other things that sometimes it takes a couple extra tries to do.
But then how are you supposed to stay healed to go into the next relationship?
I look at the positives. Be like, yes, I took the negatives and I'm going to try to change those, but still focus on the positives and all the good that I did. Because otherwise you're just going to stay in a negative state.
Yeah.
And like, again, that's my perspective because that's my outlook on life right now.
Yeah.
Like even a negative situation, I'm going to try to make it as positive as I can.
So you're saying like, okay, look, I'm in a relationship. I try to help this person.
Yeah.
Obviously, I wasn't perfect. No one's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, of course.
But this person's problems, I try to help you.
Yeah.
And then once they was good, they ended up leaving me.
Yeah.
And then give me closure.
Yeah.
Now I have to live with that closure and
Yeah.
be positive,
Yeah.
go through my emotions,
Yeah.
and then get back.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm back now,
Yeah.
right? I'm good now.
Yeah.
Like I accepted what I went through. I didn't get the mature thing that I was expecting,
Yeah.
even though I was trying to be mature.
Yeah.
I go into my next relationship, right? Thinking like, we move past those things. You're talking to that person in the beginning, everything sounds great.
Yeah.
And then the same patterns start coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're telling me like you leave before it gets worse
Yeah.
and you move on and stay positive?
Yeah, for me, I have to now. Like there was a point in my life where I was like trying to analyze everything, trying to fix everything, like you said, like, try to see, but I was like, it's just so much.
Yeah.
But like I'm gonna certain things, I'm like, you know what, I can keep focusing on the negatives consistently, but it's not doing me any help. Because I was repeating the same patterns, but like, but I'm still getting the same outcome. Sometimes like, you just gotta take a step back and see what happens and learn from it.
So if I'm to sum
that
up,
makes sense.
Yeah. So let me sum it up, right?
Yeah.
You went through it once.
Yeah.
Shit, fuck it, you went through it twice.
Yeah.
Now the next time you talk to somebody,
Yeah.
you once you see the pattern,
Yeah.
you dissociate.
Yeah.
Because then you realize like, I'm smart enough now
Yeah.
from what I went through
Yeah.
to go, oh, that's not for me.
Yeah. So that's what I said. Like,
And you pull the knife, before the knife even hits you,
Yeah.
you stop it.
yeah. And also, I'm not even putting myself in situations where the knife's even coming out. Does that make sense?
Meaning you're not getting close enough.
Yeah, I'm
Or
not.
you're not labeling.
Or I'm attracting to certain situations that it's just going to work out. If I'm going to invest in something, it's because I know it's going to be the right thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Say yeah one more time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. I guess
We got emotional in the middle there.
no, but the thing is like, relationships are, I think currently one of the hardest things there is.
Yeah.
And I know it's become a trending topic of less people are getting into relationships
Yeah.
and less people are being committed.
Yeah.
And, divorce rates have always been what they've been, or if
Yeah.
not getting worse.
Yeah. But that's what I'm saying. I think it goes back to the fact that people don't take the time to heal themselves, and they think that getting into a relationship is what's going to fix things. It's not.
It's not.
Like I said, like I learned that the hard way. You know what I mean? Like I thought getting into certain situationships was better, was better for me to avoid my own issues because I thought that might make it better.
Do you think?
But that one, things are not going to get better till you're honest with yourself and have those conversations first. Then you can allow other people to help you.
Do you think people who leave relationships jump into something again quicker just so that they can numb themselves from what they just went through? And like, let's say you did someone dirty.
Yeah.
Let's say like, oh, I dated X person or was talking to X person,
Yeah.
and like, oh, you know what? Shit, I need to leave that.
Yeah, yeah.
You leave it, maybe you don't give closure. Like,
Yeah.
maybe you were the bad person. Let's say you're the bad person, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Whether a guy or a girl. And then you witness your partner, ex-partner, jump into something quickly,
Yeah.
right? Or they're like balancing multiple people.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think jumping from relationship to then trying to talk to other people without closing your past chapter,
Yeah.
is that not like worse? Because
so I think that person also has things to fix because they on a certain level, if somebody's like talking to you and they're in a relationship, right? You're purposely putting certain red flags aside to just because you're hoping that the relationship would work and maybe down the line that person would change.
And do you think people think the grass is greener immediately?
Of course, because they justify it to themselves that it is. You know what I mean? Because like a lot of times people might know the decisions that they're making are wrong, but they're gonna find reasons to justify it to themselves to make themselves feel better, right? So I agree with you. It's the wrong thing to do.
Yeah.
And but I think sometimes people have to go to certain lessons because even that person that chose that person, they knew the red flags were there, but they chose to avoid them thinking things would change. And things can't change unless you're comfortable with yourself and change yourself first. And that's like, like if you had a certain boundary, right? Like now I have a certain boundary set, right? I would never be in a relationship with somebody that even gives me the doubt that they're having these open conversations, right?
And do you think if you're the person on the other side of that who's like, well, I gave my all to this person.
Yeah.
Now this person's jumping to other people.
Yeah.
What would you tell that person who's witnessing that and going, was I not enough?
Again, it's hard. I'm not saying it's not easy at all because in that situation, that person was the innocent one, right? But then again, you got to be realistic with yourself. In order for somebody to actually break up, that means something was not going good along the way. There's a lot of issues. Just because you guys avoided to talk about it doesn't mean they weren't always there. Like, a lot of times it goes back to the same thing that we're repeating. People, even in relationships, don't have deep conversations anymore. You know what I mean? Like
they're not fully opening up.
Exactly, because they're like, I think nowadays, like everybody's like, there's not that much relationships people have.
It's more just situations.
So they cling on to, so sometimes when it's something, they'll cling on to it more because it's such a good feeling, right? So they're willing to avoid
comfort.
a couple. Exactly, because they'd rather have that connection and be willing to avoid all the red flags that they see because they crave that connection so much.
I think some people choose the comfort of having somebody, but not being completely loyal to them because they don't want to fully open up to them.
Exactly, because also they think it's a whole process to find somebody and they're not going to be able to do that
And
again.
it's better to keep somebody around.
Yeah.
And then
even if you're not happy.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the point, like you said, like in the DST culture, you see that a lot of parents that might be together, they're arranged and stuff, but they're not happy.
They shouldn't be together.
Yeah, but they're staying for the sake of it because they're like, oh, too late for me now. Maybe the next generation can figure it out.
Or like, our culture is going to demonize me as a woman for trying to leave.
Or a man.
Or a man to leave because it's like, that's, wrong and it's wrong and you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And people, like the other side of it is like, maybe I should leave, but I'm not because of people's opinions.
Yeah.
So you may have both sides, like one person is leaving with no regard and without healing and without closure. And you have the other side where it's like, maybe these people should not be together, but they're staying together because of societal discussion.
Yeah. Guys, the one point I do want to make clear is that the reasons I'm coming up with these suggestions and like this point of thinking is because of the fact that that's what worked for me. You know what I mean? Everybody has a different way of processing things. So you might be listening to me be like, oh, I don't like his outlook because, he's some lessons could be avoided, but he's constantly putting himself back into it.
But remember, what his point is, like, his outlook is his perspective.
Yeah.
And my outlook is my perspective.
Like for me,
your outlook is your perspective.
Yeah. The reason for me is so important to go the positive route because in those traumatic times, what helped me was comedy. So I cling to that so much. So my way of dealing with things is just to say positive, make people laugh and stuff like that. So for me, that works best.
Yeah.
Like you said, everybody has a different way of coping.
That reminds me of Robin Williams.
Exactly.
Before he committed suicide.
Yeah, no, but not like that. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying for me, it helped in a positive way.
Nah,
guys, I am not suicidal.
I'm
gonna put that in my bio. Damn, it's your own people.
I'm not saying he's Robin Williams, bro. I'm not saying he's Robin Williams.
R.I.P. Great artist, man.
R.I.P. though, because for him, right? You watch his interviews. He had an interview with a very other famous actor, and he's just, this is what his later years before he passed away, and he was still funny. Yeah. Still making people laugh, like hysterically laugh. Yeah. And everyone thinks like, yo, this guy is like, he's good.
Yeah.
He's great. Yeah. But then he ends up committing suicide.
But also, honestly, if you look back at a lot of his like stand-ups, I'll be honest, I haven't heard all of them. I just have like a Spotify playlist of them. a lot of times he is actually talking about how he's feeling.
It's-
but he puts it in such a way
Yeah.
that makes people laugh.
And they don't
but he's
pick up on
talking
it.
about his
Yeah,
pain.
yeah.
If now I look back at it, like when I was younger and listening to it, I would just
You don't get it.
I was just getting the joke.
Yeah.
But now when I was going through those traumatic times, I saw what he was going through, and I actually saw the pain behind the joke.
You look through the comedy.
Exactly,
Because
yeah.
they end up laughing about their life.
Yeah, because comedy is their life. Just put in a funny way.
Funny way, yeah.
Just the delivery is funny.
Yeah.
But all the actions and all the pain behind it, all the feelings are real.
Yeah. Oh, a good example is like Cat Williams or
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Dave Chappelle, like you watch his current stand-ups, and he's talking about being outcast from the industry and
Yeah.
having hits on his life and like all this horrible shit, like dealing with people trying to put him in these crazy contracts and
Yeah.
like they say selling their soul or whatever, right, to the industry.
Yeah.
And but they're still able to take all these traumatic moments
Yeah.
and make that a skit
Yeah,
or a
exactly.
comedy,
Yeah.
or speaking about political topic and stuff like that, but making it funny, but also having deeper meaning.
Yeah,
And the
exactly.
best comedians are not just the ones that are funny, but that can take very dark moments
Yeah.
and make it light.
That's why I like Theo Von so much, because
Mm-hmm.
he's been through like a lot of like trauma, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like he openly talks about it, his addiction, his relationship with his parents growing up and everything. But he processes that trauma in such a funny way that it makes it a little bit more lighthearted and more easy to relate to. Because sometimes when you like listen to like just like straight up facts from doctors or something, it's
doesn't
not
hit,
easy to
yeah.
relate to
It's-
because the feelings aren't there.
But it's also
Comedian
like-
put in like feelings into that.
Yeah, because also the doctors are speaking very like textbook.
Exactly.
And it's like
Yeah.
sometimes you don't want to digest things that way.
Yeah.
And maybe that's not your way of digesting things,
Yeah.
right? Some people's way is music. Like for me,
Yeah.
it's music.
Exactly,
Right?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
a lot of how I feel inwardly
Yeah.
is reflected in music.
Music, yeah.
And
That
I think
makes
a lot
sense,
of people
yeah.
are like that as well, right? Like
Yeah, I think everybody can relate
Everyone
to a
can
good
relate to
song.
that,
To a,
yeah.
Like I think songs are connected to feelings, right?
Yeah, like but for me, it's like having those drives and playing the music that reflects how I want to feel. And sometimes when I'm going through things, I'll avoid certain artists or certain genres just so that my emotions aren't heightened by
Of
those
course,
things.
yeah.
Like they say, if you listen to sad songs, you're gonna be sad.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So like, why the fuck are you going through something and then listening to that because
Yeah.
you're gonna amplify those emotions?
Yeah.
Like for me, right? Like I am a big R&B listener, like
Yeah.
rap listener, but
He's a lover boy.
if I'm going through something like if I'm not like I love listening to Tory and The Weeknd, like The Weeknd's one of my favorite artists and Drake and stuff like that, right? And I like as The Weeknd calls it, the haunted stripper music. The haunted strip club. I love that music. You know what I'm saying?
You wanna cut that out?
But no. But at the same time, it's like, I know if I'm going through some things, like let's
Yeah.
say I went through a relationship or a breakup.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to listen to that.
Yeah, of course.
Because
yeah.
A, you probably listen to it with significant other.
Yeah.
And B, it's like that's gonna only bring back those things.
So for me, like
The music holds memory
so
too.
for me, like I think sometimes I have to listen to that stuff because
just to
to like process the fully feeling, because a lot of times like I said, like sometimes I have trouble with my words, but like the music would bring out certain feelings. So when I'm going to, like, let's say if I was in a relationship and it ended badly or whatever, right? Sometimes I have to listen to the sad music to really process what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And then when I'm in a better spot, then I'll change the music to what's the next step.
Yeah.
Right? And then when I'm in my good spot, that's where all my energetic music is going and all
also
that.
sometimes that music is
That
so
makes sense.
sometimes the music is so good you have to keep playing it just
Yeah.
so you can get rid of that person from that music.
Exactly,
Because
yeah.
like I don't want to lose that music just because
Yeah.
I lost somebody. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like I want to keep listening to
Yeah.
it after and apply it to myself later on.
Yeah.
So like sometimes
Like sometimes you gotta have Marvin's Room on repeat, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then let's say you had like multiple women in your life, right?
Yeah.
Marvin's Room is gonna apply to each one.
Exactly. Yeah. All four of the wives. All jokes, guys. As you can know, I'm a comedian.
Fuck
Comedians will be in my comments like crazy.
Marvin's Room is Fatima's room. and then fucking Asma's room and then this girl's room.
Not Asma. Not my sister, Asma. That was a good one. Fucking dumbass. That was good.
Look, bro.
Yeah. Guys, again, we're having such a good time doing this, bro.
Before we started this podcast,
Wait, say that again. I'm just fucking with you.
this fucking guy, bro. Before we started this podcast, we actually, I mentioned this already, but we were actually gonna keep it funny, lighthearted, all that shit.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like, you may be seeing this, but like, yo, they be mad emotional, like,
Yeah.
they be mad extra, whatever.
Yeah.
But everyone has those moments.
Yeah.
Everyone has those dark moments,
Yeah.
dark times. And us being vulnerable is just trying to let you relate to the fact that people are.
Yeah.
And you may meet us in real life and be like, yo, y'all are not like that at all.
Yeah.
Like, you guys don't show those things.
But you just met me on a different day.
No,
No,
but
like
it's
I'm
not even
saying,
like that.
No, it is like that for me because it's like, oh, like, you know, like there's days that we've done the lighthearted ones because that's how we were feeling. Certain days we're like, oh, we just like start talking and we get into like a deep topic. We're like, oh no, let's just go down that route. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
but the other thing is like, you know, for us, we're very social people,
Yeah.
right? And we're very good at being in social environments.
I don't know.
So for us though, right? Like when we're in those environments, we're not showing these emotions like that,
Yeah, of
right?
course. Yeah.
Like you may meet us and, you know, you may be thinking about like, yo, like they're probably going through those things. But it's like, you know, everyone is. But at the
Yeah,
same
of
time, like
course,
we're
yeah.
very good at like being positive.
Yeah, compartmentalizing.
Not even compartmentalizing because you don't have to be you don't have to be feeling those emotions at that time.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Right,
saying.
like
Yeah,
us
yeah,
talking about
yeah.
it helps those things.
Yeah.
So we're in a better state.
Yeah.
Right, like
I get what you're saying. My bad.
I don't want to call it compartmentalizing, but it's more like you're just in a good vibe.
Yeah, of
That's what we're
course.
preaching. Like
Yeah.
you may see us and be like, yo, they're in a good vibe,
Yeah.
but like their content, they're so raw. But it's like we're bringing that out for the camera
Yeah.
to preach to y'all.
Yeah.
But in general,
Oh yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah,
but
that
in-
makes sense. Yeah.
But we're not walking around depressing shit.
Yeah, no.
What I'm trying to
Yeah.
put out is like we are walking around trying to do those actions that we speak about
Yeah.
and have the good vibes and have the right mentality and stuff like that. And I think that's what you should do too, where it's like alone or with your friends, you get deep and you get raw. Like, you know, you're pause. Pause.
Good thing you caught that shit.
Pause. But like, you know, you have those open conversations, but then boom, you like, okay, we had those conversations.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
Lock in, get back to it. Because,
Yeah.
you know, like we mentioned before, emotional regulation. You know, you got to be in that good vibe. You know, the good vibe is what helps you out.
Find your balance, guys. Find your balance.
Find your balance.
Yeah.
Find your peace and find
Wait,
your balance.
that's damn, that's trademarked
What?
by me
What?
as a company name.
Ooh.
I can show you the actual like designs I have already. For that, that's why I wanted that to be my company's name.
Find your balance.
Find your balance. Yeah. FYB. I have like designs of it and shit like that. I wanted to make it like, you know, like a seesaw with the, like the little,
Oh, that's sick.
right?
If y'all want to see the FYB Find Your Balance merch, let us know. If you want some Unk merch, let us know.
Yeah.
We can make it happen.
Some Unk merch is
Some
crazy.
Unk merch.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all want Chota Bay merch. I'm not Chota Bay. I don't know who the fuck is. But if y'all-
Unk merch only comes in sizes, female sizes. For the female viewers
I
only.
thought you were gonna say XL and up.
No, for the female viewers only.
I thought you were gonna say like 2XL, 3XL.
Damn, Ali. I'm 1X. Damn, relax. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. Oh, I didn't know we were body shaming on this podcast. Let me
Oh,
talk.
I'm sorry. You want to talk about it?
Let me talk to the HR department.
Do you want to talk about it?
Oh shit, that's Ali. Oh, you think I'm nothing? I'm not getting nothing from her. I have a better chance of convincing you than her.
Yeah.
She's really denied.
We'll bleep her name. We'll bleep her name. All right, do you want to talk about any of those topics?
We went on Instagram. We saw a couple of the comments that you guys suggested, so we're gonna read through them, get our input on it, give you some of the Unk point of view.
Yeah,
No,
so,
Unk point of view is crazy.
I'm only gonna. We've already kind of passed our time limits. I'm only say one of the comments.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm a sad brown guy and get no girls. What do I do?
I'm sorry, bro. It's too late for you. You either got it or you don't. You know what I mean? Nah, guys, I'm just joking. Ali, give the right point of view. What should our poor brother do?
Well, I told him can't help you with that.
Oh, really? Oh, shit. Guys, I swear this wasn't pre-planned. I didn't know he said the same shit.
Nah, I'm joking. I'm a sad
No,
brown guy
yeah.
and I can't.
What was the question again? Repeat
I'm a sad brown. It's a statement.
Okay. Let me get deep. Wait. Let me get deep real quick.
It's like third eye open.
Let me
Third
get
eye open.
philosophical. I can't even say the word. All right, let's go. What's the question again? I'm feeling it.
My third eye's open.
All right.
I'm a
That's
sad
crazy.
brown guy and get no girls. What do I do? Well,
Well, brother,
you start.
Yeah, I would say there's probably a reason that's happening, right? There's something that you're missing out on. So see what that is. That goes to our point, like, you know, you gotta sometimes look in the mirror and have those hard conversations with yourself. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's a physical thing. Sometimes it's a mental thing that you're not attracting a person. Work on yourself first, and then I think that would attract the energy that you're looking out there
Well,
for.
I'll also say in your first 3 words and your first adjective about yourself, I'm a sad.
Yeah.
I'm a
Oh,
sad,
yeah, good point earlier, yeah.
sad brown
Good-
guy.
yeah.
My brother,
Why you sad, bro?
if you're gonna call yourself sad, it's not gonna make anything better.
Exactly, yeah.
If you said, I'm a happy brown guy and get no girls, what do I do? Then be like, yo, you're happy. You already
Yeah.
won up most people in life.
Yeah.
Keep vibing, and what
Yeah.
you're gonna find will come to you. So I'd say from the FPM scale, first figure out what's going on in your FPM.
Yeah.
And maybe focus on the mental and speak better about yourself.
Yeah.
Have better adjectives about yourself.
Yeah.
And if you are sad,
Yeah.
maybe change what's making you sad. I mean,
You
it's pretty
attract
obvious
what you
advice,
put
but
out, right?
You attract what you put out. So if
yeah.
you're sad, then,
Yeah, who wants to be around like a sad Desi guy?
that's a bad lineup right there.
But isn't that crazy?
Yeah, like,
Yeah, we already got a lot of like things going against us,
yeah,
bro.
like we're already
Can't be sad on
stereotyped
top
enough,
of that,
bro.
yeah.
Like, damn, like,
Yeah.
you gonna put sad on that
Yeah,
too?
they already think we listen to too much like late night drink.
Already
Yeah,
think, like, yo, like,
once in a while, put on some like with some happy music.
yeah, mind you, this is our cousin who sent that, so we're trolling him a little bit. This is not how we would, like, actually
Yeah,
deal
yeah,
with him,
of
but
course,
we're
yeah.
trolling a little bit. That was episode 9 of the 7-3 podcast. We did get a little bit, raw and more, talking about deeper things, but I think this is kind of the ones where we thrive on a little
We
bit
gotta
more.
find like better adjectives because we're using raw and deep too much. Pause.
Pause, man. Pause. We really opened up. Pause.
That's what I'm saying, guys.
Why are all like the emotional words all like?
That's the thing. It's such a stereotype around being emotional that even those words are used in
those words are
derogatory
cookie,
terms.
bro.
Yeah. It's like the no words.
Yeah, sure. We really started talking about mental health stuff,
Yeah.
and
And guys know this wasn't easy for us, so I'm sure it's not going to be easy for you guys to open up. But whoever wants to, put it down in the comments. Like we keep saying, if you want to say anonymous, completely okay, because we're just out here trying to help you guys.
especially if your comments on YouTube,
Yeah.
people should comment back and say good things. You all should uplift each other.
Yeah.
When I look at Aaron Dowdy's comments, or when I look at like people who listen to affirmations overnight, like healing affirmations or stuff
Yeah.
like that, people are praying for each other.
Yeah.
People are praying for the chat.
Yeah.
And to you, maybe like, that's corny, like, why are they praying? But it's bringing an energy, like someone in that chat took the time to go, I'm praying for everybody in this chat. I've seen some of the craziest comments where it's
But
like, no, they'll be
yeah.
like, I'm going through cancer. I'm going through a lot in my life,
Yeah.
but listening to this makes me feel better.
Yeah.
And I pray for everyone in this chat.
Yeah.
And they're bringing good vibes to
Yeah.
the chat and stuff.
And unfortunately nowadays, what you see more, especially in the comments, are negative comments.
Because people
But-
thrive on negativity.
Yeah, but I hope, going back to the same thing, if you get at one message I'm trying to get across is, there are always going to be people that are negative, but just know how to like have boundaries and ignore that, because they're coming from their own hurt place, and you
Yeah.
can't help them from that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's easy to dwell in the negatives, but really put in the work to focus on the positives, because in the long run, you're going to appreciate life a lot more.
And remember, some people are being negative because they're too scared to deal with their own shit.
Of course, yeah.
Like, that's the truth.
Yeah.
Like, if you saw a post of somebody trying to help somebody
Yeah.
and someone's making fun of that person, it's like,
Yeah.
yo, like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Like, that person's trying to help somebody, and you over here making jokes and thinking shit funny.
And that's why, like, the worst comments you see are online. Nobody's really like that in person.
Hell no.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just an easy way out. But nobody would really do that in person, because then you'll see like, oh, that's just a person that's really going
Hurt
through their
and
hurt.
broke, like,
Yeah.
I
Because
almost,
on the comment you don't see the emotion
like
behind
like
it.
some of them say, like, when they're like, oh, I almost feel so sorry for that person
Yeah.
because they're so lost in their own negativity
course, yeah.
that they have enough time to even spread it.
Yeah.
Like, imagine not being conscious enough of your own actions
Yeah.
that you will spread negativity
Yeah.
just to try to hurt somebody.
Yeah.
Like, you low,
And
like,
a lot of these guys are just bots trying to rally you up. So
Yeah.
F them. It's the only thing I can say. I think that's a good note to
Not
end the
literally.
podcast on.
Anyways, that's episode 9, bro. From me and Unc. And
Appreciate you guys. As always,
Appreciate
like,
y'all.
comment,
Like,
subscribe,
yup.
hit the bell icon.
Follow,
Appreciate
yup.
you guys. Love you guys.
yup.